Hi, I'm Jason Schoendorfer, co-owner and chief smoker for Babe's Meat and Counter, here to talk about something that everybody loves, bacon. So we have some bacon here in front of us today. This is a commercially produced bacon that you could find in a grocery store. Bacon is traditionally made from the belly of the pig. You can make bacon from other parts of the pig, usually called a different name. However, bacon is almost always made with some part of the belly, part of the pig. This is a whole muscle that's cured for some time. It can be smoked. It can be cooked in some form or fashion at that point, and produces something that just triggers something in, I think, most people that have ever had bacon. You just want more and more of it. We got a pretty uniform looking group of slices of bacon here. I know when it comes to our processes of making bacon, we do a dry cure for a period of 7 to 10 days. We then take that bacon and smoke it, at which point after smoking, we'll let it hang in the coolers for a bit, dry out even a little bit further for some time. At that point, it's ready to slice and eat up. When it comes to commercial bacon making, I'm not sure the process is exactly the same. Now, in that process of commercial bacon making, from my understanding, sometimes the curing process is cut down dramatically. It's a matter of a day or two sometimes, or not even. These are all apparently apple wood smoked bacons or some sort of wood smoked bacons, which is very popular because obviously smoking makes things taste better. But however, in other commercially produced bacon, sometimes they forego that completely and use liquid smoke. These, however, are, wood smoked. It seems a lot of moisture in these. One of the reasons we like to hang our bacon and let it dry for a little bit of time is to remove some of that moisture. And what that does is prevent a lot of shrinkage in the pan. If you've had a pack of bacon you bought from the store before and you see these big, beautiful slices and then you go to cook them up and they all shrivel up to tiny little pieces, then you've experienced bacon shrinkage. And a lot of that is just the retention of the moisture from the pork belly during the process of bacon making. I would say out of all of these, this one probably on the ends here looks to have the least amount of moisture. It will probably have the proportionally least amount of shrinkage, whereas like I can see right off the bat, there's water coming out of this piece right here. When we cook this up, it might go to half the size. But nonetheless, it'll still probably taste great. So I guess let's start cooking some bacon. All right, kids, it's important to start off with a cool pan, not so hot on the bacon. Preferably a medium-ish heat. You don't want to cook it too fast. As I mentioned, the shrinkage is starting to happen here. You can see as some of the fat starts to render and the moisture evaporates, our piece of bacon is growing ever smaller. Just give it a flip. It's always a good idea when cooking bacon in a pan to constantly flip it and rotate it so it cooks evenly. It'll also help it cook a little bit faster. I found over time, if you're cooking a good amount of bacon, it's probably best to do it in the oven on a sheet pan. You can get it all done in one shot. Not a lot of splatter on the stovetop. And I find I don't eat as much of it as when I cook it on the stovetop. I typically will eat half the amount that I'm cooking while I'm cooking the other half.
Good news, parents? No, you can't ever use the bathroom in peace again, but you can make sure that your kid always has the perfect baseball or softball bat without spending a fortune. How? Introducing BatClubUSA.com, a subscription service that lets you pick any bat, pay monthly, and switch anytime you like. Just select the bat you want from any of the major brands, Easton, DeMarini, Louisville Slugger, and more, and Bat Club USA will ship a brand new bat right to your front door.
It's that easy. And if your bat isn't working out for any reason, you can exchange it for a new one. Even if it's beat up, broken, or...
Red.
Or someone doesn't like red anymore.
Taking a little bit of time here, we can start throwing on some of these other guys. See bachelor number 2. Why don't we just load up this pan? Ooh, we got this long boy. I don't care what kind of bacon it is, but if you don't like this smell, even if you don't eat bacon, I don't know what's wrong with you. We've had vegans even say that the smell of bacon is terribly attractive, and I get it, Even if you don't want to eat it, it's hard to resist. Typically, bacon making Seasoning wise is very simple. It can be something as so simple as sugar, salt, maybe black pepper sometimes, curing salt, just the umami of the cured pork belly, salt and sugar, and like I said, a little bit of pepper sometimes. You can get fancy with it. We do make a few different styles ourselves, and I've seen others make all sorts of different flavor combinations that you can impart on the bacon. We do one with coffee, give it kind of an earthy flavor. That is a happy sight. Bacon's kind of like pizza for me. No matter how bad it is, it's still probably good. So I don't think we're gonna have any real losers in this bunch here. Except maybe this guy at the end here. I don't know if there'll be any left of him by the time we get to it. Thickness is definitely an issue when it comes to the slicing of bacon. Traditionally, a lot of commercial bacons weren't sliced very thick. It has become more popular, I would say, over the past 20 years to sell in the grocery stores thick sliced bacon. Prior to that, you'd have to either go directly to a butcher or somebody that was making their bacon and able to control the thickness of the slice. Personally, I find a thicker slice of bacon much more satisfying. Obviously, there's more to bite down to. You have a lot, it's a lot meatier. You could see some of the thin sliced bacon that we have here is kind of just cooking into nothing. Thin sliced bacon will typically cook down to very, very small pieces. So one of the reasons too that we like to thick slice is you do get nicer end slices out of them. It helps with the shrinkage. I mean, you can see the shrinkage just happening here. Some of the thicker slices on the end, you know, still seem relatively large, while this first guy is down almost nothing. I'd love to have a picture of what these all started like. We should have drawn lines on the doctor's table here. Here's another contentious issue when it comes to bacon is how much do you like it cooked? Myself, I opt for the perfect medium cook. Some people like it super crispy, almost to the point of being burnt, which frankly could be a little insulting to a bacon maker when somebody asks me to overcook their bacon that I spent a lot of time working to make. But, you know, everybody has their preferences. I know some people who like it pretty near raw. Not raw, but, you know, floppy, let's just say. We're getting to where I like to get it. So this may be a little bit contentious on video for some of y'all if I don't cook it enough for you. And you're gonna have to deal with it. Cook it all the way through, with still a little bit of chew from the fat. I don't wanna be chewing rubbery fat, but you do need to have some fat in there, not just for the flavor, but for the texture. I'm not a big fan of the bacon crisping up to shards in my mouth. All right, we got some of these end pieces here coming up. Feel like we're on the Food Network. All right, this is gonna be number 1 here. Oh, wow, that's pretty crazy. So we started with this, and we're down to less than half the size. It's one of the things I always try to explain to people when they ask why our bacon is more expensive than the ones in the store. I can guarantee you're not gonna get 50% reduction on the bacon that I sell you. You're gonna get your money's worth. So let's see here. This is a nice piece of looking bacon here. All right, I would say that is perfect for me. We got number 3. And you can see so far we've got considerable shrinkage. All right, we're gonna pull this guy before he gets a little too far. This is number 5. And everybody just coming in at under half. All right, we have some deliciously cooked bacon here. Again, coming back to the shrinkage aspect, we can see all of these pretty well shrunk by half of the original size, except for the one at the end. The one at the end was shorter to begin with. Like I mentioned, that one originally I thought had the least amount of moisture just from the good old eyeball test. I think proportionally it was probably the least shrinkage of all of them. Let's start with scrappy number 1 here. Let's see what we got. It's definitely bacon. A good amount of salt. Not super salty. I thought it was gonna be a little overboard, but no, just right there. Kind of nondescript. Texturally, I mean, you can see it had cooked down into kind of just a big ball. We got like a little bacon chicharron here. I mean, like I said, I can't be mad, it's still bacon. But so far, it's a little thin sliced, and that thin slice doesn't just give me much texture. When I eat it, it just kind of like disappears like a wafer. Not bad, but definitely probably not gonna be my favorite. Let's see what we got here. That was balanced. A little bit thicker on the slice than the last one, but still thinner than what I'd normally prefer. Not overly salty. Again, really just simple flavor profile. You know, salt with enough sugar to balance that. It's a good standard piece of bacon. I wouldn't be mad at that. All right, let's see what we got on number 3 here. Again, looks to be about the same thickness of slice as the last one. Generally the same appearance cooked. Kind of same mild smoky flavor. None of these so far has been heavily flavored on the smoke, even though it does have your standard smoke taste to it. Let's see number 4 here. Definitely salt forward, but thicker slice, which definitely is always a plus. So far, texturally wise, this is my favorite of the ones I've tasted so far. Likely because it was a little thicker, but probably the most balanced. It's really hard because bacon is also good. All right, let's see what we got with the last one here. This one has got my high expectations, so let's see. Yeah, that was another solid one. Very much like the last one I just tasted. Good thick slice to it. This is definitely heading in the right direction of the thickness that I like. It has a nice amount of chew. Not too salty, but salty, like what you want in a piece of bacon. Just enough sweetness to balance everything, not sweet at all. But I would have to say, definitely because of the thickness, these last 2 slices would probably be my favorites. All in all, I think the last one, probably because the amount of return you would get with the amount of shrinkage compared to the others, would probably be the best bang for your buck out of all of these, but really not a bad one in the bunch. Not a big fan of the first one because of how scrappy it was, and then the shrinkage on that was pretty heavy. It doesn't really seem like ideal for sandwiches, or I guess for breakfast. It doesn't really matter what the bacon looks like, but if you like strips of bacon, you're definitely not getting that with that first piece. The belly was still way too under-cured and kind of falling apart from what it appeared to be. That, I guess, would be one of the pitfalls of speeding it up the process for commercial bacon making. Not taking that time to cure the pork belly so that it's not as mushy, basically is the right way to put it. It lacks any firmness when you slice it. That slice was basically falling apart when we went to go cook it. When you slice a pork belly for bacon, you should be able to have a nice slice that holds together. But again, bacon is delicious. So how am I gonna argue with any of these guys? As I finish this plate. Okay, so we've got a good collection of characters here. Going back to our generic store-bought brand, I believe it's the Publix brand here. Again, not terrible, but you see it's texturally starts off very, very soft, which means it has a lot of moisture in it, and that's why when we cooked it down, it became almost nothing. Second one here, see the Oscar Mayer hardwood smoked bacon. Not bad for Oscar Mayer. Typically their bacons can be a little bit on the softer side, but this is definitely a nice product here. We have Hormel Black Label. Oh, this is fancier. But all in all, yeah, this one was good too. You can see it's a little bit thicker sliced. It's also naturally hardwood smoked. Getting to the last 2 here, which I like the most. Smithfield, okay. Thick cut, so it even mentions it there, thick cut. But these 2 were a little bit thicker. Naturally smoked with applewood, one of my favorite woods to smoke with for pork. Fruit woods and pork just go hand in hand together. And then Jimmy Dean, go figure, Jimmy Dean. I've never had this one before for store-bought bacon. I definitely gotta say it was really good. Applewood smoked again, this one had a nice smoke flavor. It has the nice thick cut, which I like. And just all in all, like, you know, your classic bacon. All bacon is good. Some are better than others, but there is no bad bacon. That is the point. That's all I have to say. I don't really know what else to say here. Bacon good.